Today I thought I would paint some of these lovely thistles. They were in a vase and they're about to die on me, so I thought why not try and paint them a little bit before they go out into the compost heap. These are wonderful mop brushes. They hold a huge amount of water, but they are sort of my favorite brushes. So this one's a little bit big for today, so I'll just leave that one there, and then I think I will start with this one. What I first do is I spray my palette with some water from my spray bottle, and I mix the colors that I want to use. So it's a nice sort of purpley color. Let's see if we can match that. It's almost more blue than purple. Maybe even a lighter one. Okay, so pretty loaded brush by now. There's no prior drawing, so I'm just going to sort of place these where I think lots of water, place these more or less where they're going to be, with maybe some extra color in it, and then soften it here and there. Just so that it connects and doesn't look so blotchy. So the watercolor paints I use is anything really. I have many different varieties. They are artist quality, but I've tended to collect them over the years, and I will use it, not being one that likes to throw anything away. I will use it until it's finished before I buy something else. So it could be a complete different brand. I like Daniel Smith, of course, Winsor Newton, the big favorite. So here I'm just taking some of my original color into the greens, so it doesn't become, you know, the last thing you want is a very stark bright green that doesn't look natural. Now let the colors blend in a little bit here and there, but the rest are, so you've got a few hard edges here wherever you haven't put the water, and of course nice and soft where you have put the water, so it just gives a nice contrast. And don't worry if it's not absolutely exact. I think that's the joys about watercolor and wet on wet, is that it runs, and that is exactly what I like about it. You never know exactly how it's gonna turn out. If I knew exactly how it would turn out, I would use a different medium, I think. I just love this sort of free look that it has. Don't worry about your odd puddles. If you are, you can blot them a little bit here and there. And I think we need a little stronger color. I think while it's wet like this, I might try and pull a few of these little spiky bits out. So using the wet that's already there. Just to get your first layer down. It has that nice soft look. So now we're at this stage. Might do slightly darker there. I will now just let it dry a little bit and then continue with the more detail. Now I'm going to, the painting's a little bit dry, or dry enough for me to work on, and I'm going to define the thistle flowers a little bit. So I'm going to take my ultramarine blue, same one that I used earlier, with a little bit of alizarin crimson. I'm going to make some of it a little bit darker than what they actually are, because you do need a bit of contrast, otherwise it doesn't really stand out as a flower. So I'm using a slightly smaller mop brush, and this is just loose. Don't worry that everyone is going in the correct direction, just so that you have a type of feeling of what they are. As you can see, this mop brush sucks up a huge amount of water, so it's great to use. I think in a painting, be careful about having everything too light, because then if you don't have that contrast, it just, especially if you look at it from a distance, it just all looks too bland in color. So always add a little bit more than is actually there. And if you might say, oh, well, that is not what it really looks like, but nobody's going to ask you later on, show me the photograph of what it really looked like. So you've got artistic license to do anything you want to do. I'm just putting some of these things in here. A little bit more detail. You can put the green in on this sort of purple while it's still wet, and then again it'll join together or blend together, and just give it a much softer feel. So even if some of the leaves turn out to actually be purple, it doesn't matter. I think your eye finishes off the painting for you, and it just, by blending these colors together, just gives it a nice soft feel. I think these, I'm doing this in, I live in Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm sure these thistles look a little bit different to what you are used to. I remember taking the most wonderful photographs in the Algarve in Portugal of thistles, and they were huge, absolutely huge. So ours are not anything like that, but they seem to be becoming more and more popular in flower arrangements. So I don't know if any of you saw my Instagram post a few days ago. I actually, these thistles were in a big vase with cornflowers and other little purple things, and really, really lovely. So I did do a painting of the cornflowers, but I left the thistles out, because I thought I'd have a little bit more time to do them, as they last slightly longer. Now I might even add a touch of indigo. It's like a really dark here and there, while it's still wet, just sort of that you get down into the heart of the flower. As you can see, it just adds that little bit of a extra oomph to the painting. Even the greens I'm going to just darken a little bit here and there. With a little bit of ultramarine again. So my painting's not 100% dry yet, but I've decided I'm going to do some more work on it with these charcoal drawing pencils. This is a gift I received from somebody. I see it's got from white HB all the way through to 6B, and I'm going to try with a 4B and just see what other textures that I can give this. I think mainly the leaves have a few jagged edges which I haven't been able to show. See, it's not going so nicely on the wet paper, but here and there the paper's dry, so it's maybe not dark enough. So I'm going to try another one that's slightly darker. This is the 6B. What is this? We'll try those. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. Yes, that's a little bit better. Again, it doesn't have to be exact. This seems to go over the paper quite nicely. And just to give a bit of an indication which way some of these leaves go. So try not to smear your watercolor pencil. Oh, I like this one. It's really working nicely. Again, it does not have to be exact. And by doing this, you're also connecting a little bit more to some of the blossoms you've already done. The last thing you want is just blob, 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 blob without any connection. So make sure that you do connect your flowers always. It should just all be touching. I guess you can also do a little bit more in the detail on the actual spikes here. Yeah, I like that effect. But you know, you don't have to go out and buy exactly what I've got. You use what you have at home. I'm a very much advocate of using what you already have. I guess art is like any other, or like any sport, I guess. Is buying the equipment is part of the sport, and who doesn't like new equipment? But it's also good to try out what you have in your cupboard. And this I was given as a gift, as I said, and I've never tried them, and I love this. I love the way it works. Just adds a little bit more definition. So we don't have to show everything there. Okay, I think that is pretty much it.